This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. We have a question today off of Facebook from David O'Sullivan about my favorite topic, about my invention, the slingshot from howmuchyoubench.net. His question is in regards to how do I utilize the slingshot. I have a Raw competition coming up, and a lot of people are asking the question of, and that's why I wanted to address this one, a lot of people are asking the question of, is the slingshot something I should be utilizing if I am a Raw lifter? Well, of course it is, because the slingshot will allow you to lift more weight in a safer fashion. You'll be able to do more reps, more sets, more overall volume, handle more overall work. You'll be able to do repetitions with your previous Raw max. You'll also be able to employ something called the future method, where you're able to utilize more weight, and over a period of time your body will start to learn how to stabilize those big weights, get used to those big weights, and you'll be able to handle those bigger weights in the future. It is my opinion the slingshot is best utilized with a slight pause at the bottom of the lift. And it's a huge mistake that many people make in bench pressing with or without a slingshot, is the fact that they try to get momentum in a bench press and they're not using enough muscle control in a bench press. It's a key element of bench pressing. It's a key element of strength for any movement, even including the squat, where you sometimes see these guys dive bomb their squats. They are missing out on part of the lift. And the same thing happens in the bench press. You'll see someone come down with the weight. They'll come down and they'll go whoosh-shoop. They'll make that little noise, that whoosh-shoop noise. But the weights, they'll come down sturdy and then they'll go here, whoosh, and they'll throw it out of the bottom. And that is not what you want to do, and that is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for lifting 400 in the gym and going to a meet and struggling with 365 with a pause, or even worse, bombing out of the meet altogether. And if you're a geared lifter, if somebody's lifting in a bench shirt, that is still a very crappy way to bench press, because you want to build up some strength off that bottom of the bench press. You want to build up some momentum. So employ a little bit of a pause. It doesn't have to be a full pause. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to rest on your chest for a minute or anything like that, but even just a second, half second, or just bringing the weights down steady and sturdy and under control until they make contact with your t-shirt, and then explode into those weights. The slingshot is going to take away a lot of pain and a lot of stress in your shoulders, in your elbows, in your pecs, where a lot of guys get hurt in powerlifting. It's going to allow you to handle more weight in a much safer fashion. So how do we utilize it is the main question here. How do we utilize the slingshot? The way that I suggest that you use it, you can use it on a max effort day, a dynamic effort day, a repetition effort method day. It doesn't really matter what day it is, but let's just say that you're doing a max for the day. And let's say your best bench press is 400 pounds. Your best bench press is around 400 pounds. I would say, you do your regular warm-ups. By the way, we warm up with low repetitions. We don't warm up with real high reps. You can push the reps a little bit to add more volume to your training, but always remember, and don't let anything interfere, life itself or anything else for that matter, don't let anything interfere with the intent of the day. If the goal of the day is to get a big triple or a big single, then that's what we need to get to. We need to get to it efficiently, effectively, safely, and then we need to be able to perform when we get there. So we don't want to do 135 for 10, 225 for 10, 275 for 10, 315. We don't want to do all those repetitions like that, because we don't want to wear ourselves out. But as I mentioned, you can add a little bit of repetitions to your warm-up so that you are conditioning yourself to get stronger and that you are training yourself to get stronger. So here would be my recommendation. Do 135 pounds for like 10 reps. Do 185 for about 8 reps. 225 for about 5 reps. 275 for 5 reps. 315 for 3 to 5 reps. And then I would go to about 335 and do 3 reps. I'd go to 365 and perform a single. And then I would go to about 385 and perform another single. Then I would go to 400 pounds with the slingshot. This would be your first set with the slingshot on, and perform a double. If you're not used to the slingshot, then we need to go back and you need to start with a much lighter weight. If your best, you want to start about 100 pounds under your max if it's your first time ever using a slingshot. So if your best is 400, you're going to start at 300 because you need to practice in the slingshot before you kill yourself. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So back to the matter at hand, back to the plan here. We're going to do 400 for a double. If that goes pretty smoothly, and you feel like you can go up in weight, we're going to go to 410 or 415 for another double. Then we're going to go to about 430. So we make 10 to 15 pound jumps. We're going to do 3 sets of 2. If 400 for a double is kind of hard and kind of awkward, then do it for a couple of sets. Remember, we need a little bit of a pause at the bottom there. So 3 sets of 2 with 400 pounds would be good. I personally am a fan of utilizing the slingshot for at least a little bit of repetitions rather than just max single, although those can be a lot of fun and those could be a real big confidence booster. I'd rather see people do doubles and triples. On that same note, my boy, Brandon Lilly, who has benched 573, I believe, successfully in a contest, maybe even more, 584. Sorry if I'm jipping you a couple pounds. He has said whatever he can triple in a slingshot, he knows he can do for a single in a competition. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's see, where the hell was I? Okay, so we did 400, 410, and then 420, 430, somewhere in that range. We did 3 doubles. Now what we're going to do, we're going to reduce the weight. We're going to go back down to about 315, 3 wheels, 3 demons, 3 on each side, and we're going to perform as many reps as we can, and we're going to do about 2 or 3 sets that way. So that would conclude your bench press training for that particular day. You can also go into all your regular assistance work, and when you're done, you can hit up a couple max reps of push-ups. Record how many reps you've done over 3 sets, and work on improving that from week to week, and see if you can work your way up to performing about 100 repetitions of push-ups. Some of you guys out there might be plenty strong enough just to bang that out right away, but for others that may be a challenge. So just add up your total for 3 sets and continue to work on pursuing that. The slingshot will help with push-ups, bench press, dips. Let's see. Another way to utilize the slingshot would be to just use it for a repetition effort day. And in that case, it would be it would sound very similar, except for you would just start out with a lighter weight. So if your best is 400, you'd start out with 315 and maybe do about 5 sets of 5, something along those lines. You guys can figure out the math. You guys can figure out the numbers a little bit. You guys know yourselves better than you think you do, and you can gauge the weights kind of accordingly. If you're not following me, you're not following the leader, and if you're not following me on the YouTubes, that means that you have no life. And that is it from supertraining.tv. Go buy a slingshot. We got free shipping right now. Howmuchyoubench.net. Later.